What is up, everybody? We are live with another episode of Hashgraph Hustlers Incubator Special. For those of you who are joining for the first time, this is a special type of Hashgraph Hustlers episode where it's not me hustling, it's the amazing participants in the incubator who are joining us and hustling with us. Today, we've got a really special guest. We've got Prism Marketplace. Unfortunately, the other guest, Torch, were not able to join. They're actually just hustling too hard. So it's just going to be myself and Ethan from Prism Labs. Ethan, come on up. Amazing. How are you doing, Ethan?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. So we'll get into a few questions and then we're going to see a demo of the latest changes in the Prism Market Labs user interface today. And quick few house rules. If you scan the QR code in the top right, you can actually join us. So we're also going to be inside of a Zep space. Let me pull it up for a second. So yeah, that QR code should take you to a Zep space. Zep space is basically like a co-working room where myself and Ethan will be. Ethan, if you haven't joined, I'll also drop the link in the comments, and then you can just sort of load it up in another screen. But by joining the Zep space, you'll be able to ask myself questions, ask Ethan questions, have some sort of one-on-one time with the founders in our I've just saw a really nice message. Shout out, not Jack. I'm guessing he is actually Jack. But yeah, you can't be missing Hashgraph Hustlers. So very happy to have Ethan with us. Anyway, let's get straight to it, Ethan. In one sentence, what does your protocol do?
Yeah, so Prism Market is a decentralized prediction marketplace. That's probably the easiest way to describe it. So to elaborate on why we're different compared to the current existing competitors is three distinct features. So first one is our market factory. We want to allow our community and our users to create their own markets. Of course, it can't be entirely permissionless. It's in a permission environment where basically a user will fill out our market factory form and it'll be sent to our database. And then we'll go to our Oracle providers to see if they can actually support said market. Second is our DAO. We basically allow our token holders to dictate on how we manage treasury funds or which markets actually receive liquidity rewards. And third, and most importantly, is our revenue sharing mechanic, where 25% of all protocol revenue will be used to buy back our governance token on the open market and be distributed to our liquid staking holders. So I know that was maybe a little bit longer than one sentence, but yeah, it needs more context when we say we're just another prediction market.
There we go. And I see we've the backstage have brought it up. This is the dashboard you've got, yeah? So it's not live right now. You're still just on testnet, is that right? Or are you on mainnet as of yet?
So this is just only on testnet. We plan to launch on mainnet September 30th. Now, I know that is some time away, but it is important to mention that this is not a fork of any other protocol. This is built from scratch from our talented engineering team. So I'm sure you can imagine it takes a bit of time to make sure it's the most secure protocol it can possibly be, especially when it's managing and our smart contracts are dealing with real funds.
No, let me hang on. I think I chose the wrong. Where's Ethan? Sorry, guys, this is my fault. I'm trying to change it so that we have just there we go. Is it possible if we go only for? Let me do. Awkward. Okay. I'm just going to leave this backstage. Is it possible if we just show up? Just there we go. Yeah, I should have not touched anything. So Ethan, as you mentioned, you're doing something which is very different to the traditional prediction market place sort of model. And I guess my follow-up question to the first one is, what frustrated you about the traditional? I say traditional; it's still pretty modern and innovative, but the traditional rails, the trad prediction markets. What was it that frustrated you about those, which led you to want to build Prism?
Yeah, so the current competitors that exist in this space, I find were too centralized. where I believe they actually extract more value than they provide to their users. Just because, they're the ones creating the markets. In a lot of cases, they're the ones resolving the markets. I know some of them work with other Oracle providers, but there's been lots of controversy over how should I say, how the market resolved, because they're very niche and ambiguous with their rules. And we want to be as straightforward as we possibly can. And I've never seen any other protocol actually share the revenue they generate, which I thought was a really untapped opportunity that we could really tackle head on, and especially build it on arguably the best network, Hedera, that doesn't actually have a prediction market.
No argument there.
Yeah.
So, there was the instance the other day, wasn't there, with, I think it was Michael Saylor selling Bitcoin. And wasn't there something where they did sell it on the 25th, but then actually, because the filings were released on the 30th, I don't know, that there was like they said yes and somebody had put in no or whatever. Did you see that? Did you see that particular issue?
So I actually didn't. I'm not aware of that market that you are talking about, but the one that comes to mind is in the last Super Bowl, where they had a market where it's like, will Cardi B dance? And basically she like stood up, and then people argued that that's dancing or whatever. And then they resolved that market like 60-40 or something. It was just like, and that's not the only instance. Another one is like, well, the president of Ukraine wear a suit, and you could argue that he was wearing a suit or not. It was just like these really interesting markets that you could say. And so we really want to be black and white with the markets that we host. And by that I mean it's like either it happens or it doesn't. And if it's like a sport market where there's like two fighters going at it, and it's a no contest or a draw, we would either have a option for a draw, the purchase for that market, or it'll resolve 50-50. I can go through a quick demo here, but right now we only have two options available. So for all demo purposes, it will just be a draw if neither happens. As we all know, the World Cup is going on right now, so we actually put up a market for the Switzerland versus Canada game, and if it's a draw, which is a good likelihood, it would resolve 50-50. Just for now, we plan on introducing more options once we launch on mainnet and continue to scale.
No, it totally makes sense to keep it simple while scaling up. Don't overcomplicate the tech. Well, that's a good segue. Let's get straight into the demo. Backstage, if I'm not going to touch it yet because we'll have the same situation again. But let's go into it. Let's also get some tunes on in the background. I'm gonna get some bops on. Let's get some feeding the ducks. Nah, daydreaming. Is this the first Hashgraph Hustlers you've ever watched, Ethan? Or you ever taken part of? Have you seen some of them in the past?
I've seen some of the more recent ones that you've been doing with the other incubator participants. They look a lot of fun, so I was really looking forward to this one.
Amazing. Well, I think you're the first person to have been honored with sharing a demo. So let's get straight into it. Yeah.
So as you can see here, this is just the home screen. If you go to testnet.prism.market, this is live. Anyone can load up and connect their testnet wallet. To participate in the existing markets, you need to load up your wallet with testnet USDC, and our documentation has the full guide on how to get that directly from Circle.
You need to associate your wallet first. That's so important, and it's so frustrating because if you don't associate your wallet, there goes success. It says you've done it successfully, but it never sends. That drove me crazy for a long time, but that's good that you put the docs for it.
Yeah, so the homepage just has an overview of how the protocol will work. If you are curious in more in-depth information, you just click learn more, and then it brings up our documentation. But that's not what we're going to go through right now, because that's the boring stuff, right? So yeah, you just go to explore markets, and you can see we have 3 testnet markets right now. And this was done intentionally because we didn't want to just flood markets that we think users want to see. We actually want to hear from the Hedera community or our users in general. So we just pushed this update almost a week ago now. So we're just, there's only 3 mock-up markets that you can go on. For the sake of the demo, we'll choose this market, Switzerland versus Canada. So this game will resolve, this game will happen tomorrow, actually. And you can see here, this is the order book where all the different limit orders that users are placing for each side, where you can see the bids and asks. And this is the chart. Right now, there's not much going on because this market was just created yesterday, and it was just the dev team we're trading back and forth to each other. But you can basically expand the chart or shorten it beyond the different time frames. Of course, we need to make the assumption that this market would have been open for a few months at least to allow users to basically speculate on what they think is going to happen. Let's just go ahead and we can make a limit order. I think Switzerland is going to win, and I'm willing to spend 59 cents on a share or a position token. We're still trying to nail the head on what exactly to call it. But I kind of go back and forth between those two. But so when you find the limit price that you're willing to buy a position token at, I'm willing to spend 1 USDC. You have to sign the buy order. It's basically signing an intent. My apologies, my Hashgraph wallet signed me out there. I just had to input my password again. So you have to sign the message and then submit the order. And there's an ask here that you should see disappear real quick. Boom, you saw it disappear. The rest of the order went onto the order book because there wasn't enough shares at the 59-cent price that I was making a limit order at to fulfill the whole $1 that I was willing to buy it at. But so that order was successful. If you want to track that order, you can go to your portfolio page here, active positions. You can see here, this is the market that I just purchased my shares on. And if the price ever moves, you can see the average and the unrealized P&L move in real time, which is something really cool, which was the latest update that we just released. Now, let's say I don't want to wait till tomorrow to find out whether or not Switzerland wins. I can go back to the market, hit this little button here, sell, and basically select a limit price that I'm willing to sell at. Now, I'm going to say, you know what? I'm willing to accept 1 cent in profit. I'm just going to sell it at, I'm willing to sell my 1.7 shares that I have. And so you sign an intent again, sign the message in the Hashgraph, and then submit order. And then in just a moment, you should see that my ask, there we are. So I'm willing to sell 0.6 shares, 60 cents. And basically I will wait till the market comes to me and that order will fulfill. Or while I'm waiting, I can participate in the community board, see what other people are saying about the markets or the community, etc. Now, I probably should have resolved the market to show the redeem function, but I guess it's nothing too crazy. If this market I actually could resolve this market on this call, but basically you get a button in your portfolio to redeem your winnings, and then you'd see the USDC, enter your Hashgraph, minus the 2% protocol fee.
That's really great. I'm just going to share up I've just added the link on the website here, so you can actually test this out yourself. This is live on testnet. If you go to testnet.prism.market, there are these 3 markets open right now. But that was really nice. I mean, it's you mentioned you've got a really amazing engineering team. I can vouch for that. I know they like to keep quite low key. But they're I mean, honestly, some of the best developers that the UK have. And one of them is based in the UK. There's 2 engineers, right? Or is there?
Yeah. What the front end is based in Canada, and
Okay.
our back end and smart contract engineer is
Yeah.
based in the UK.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. They do like to keep a low profile for now, just not conflict with their real jobs at big institutions they work at. But they are, you could say, H barbarians, and are very motivated to help bring something new to the space.
Yeah.
And hopefully make this all our full-time jobs, right?
Yeah. And let's just say they're probably some of the best people in the world to be building order books. Let's just put it like that.
Definitely. Yeah, I guess I didn't mention that we basically have a central limit order book, which has been the trend that I've noticed for 2026.
Yeah.
I know. There was Lambdaplex that was on a podcast with on Hedera, or community call. Yeah. And Saucer Swap just released V3. It's like the year of the order book. It is out. Yes, it's out on mainnet.
How did I not see that? Oh man, shame on me. Okay, wow, I need to try that out. That's awesome stuff.
Yeah, it's so great to see so many talented teams build on Hedera and leverage this. Like I said, the greatest technology.
Yeah, well, it's always, I think it's always a good signal when you've got people like yourselves, hustlers, who are building in the bear market. And actually, there we go, amazing. Yeah, I've just seen, they've got their order. That's awesome. Okay, cool. I'm going to be playing around with that later today. But there's it's definitely a good signal to have people like yourselves, people of the caliber that we've got in this incubator, who are just still head down building, not listening to the to the FUD, and rather pioneering the future.
Definitely. Some of the best advice I've ever received from a lot of talented builders in this space is as long as you keep building in the bear, like, you'll reap the rewards in the bull, right?
In the bull.
And especially because from what I've heard, a lot of teams that were building in the bull market, they're just getting crazy money thrown at them, and they just thought like that train would never end, and they get these crazy marketing budgets and then realize they're broke within like 3 months. It's like, oh, how did that happen? Yeah. Whereas compared to teams that build in the bear market, they have a really lean team and have a really strict budget and learn how to basically manage their cash flow better.
Yeah. Well, no, they come from the gutter. You came from the gutter. You came from the streets. The streets. Amazing. No, that's really great. So let's got a couple more questions for you. 12 months out, what does winning look like for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So basically, we're 12 months from now, we're live on mainnet. We have roughly 30 markets available across a bunch of different categories and sectors. 400 monthly active users, just based on the data that we found for people who are active on DeFi. That's something that that's attainable. And also, what was it? $500,000 in total value locked in the protocol.
Amazing. I really like how specific they are. You've obviously thought about it. You thought about it realistically. That's a really good sign.
Yeah, the team and the advisors that we're working with have been in this space and really experienced. So yeah, we're really data driven with our estimations, and it's great that everything is logged on chain for us to verify publicly ourselves. And those are basically the numbers that we found that is actually realistic, and it's not just hype or like baloney. We wanted to be realistic with our expectations.
Yeah, and then I guess how do you see, or what's your sort of go-to-market plan when it comes to growing that specifically from people outside of the Hedera ecosystem? And I'd be interested in hearing, maybe you don't have an answer for it at the moment, but how do you also segment Web3 people on blockchains like Solana, Base, etc., but also Web2? Like, is that part of the strategy? How can we get net new people in who may be first time experiencing blockchain?
Yeah, well, that's the $1 billion question, right? It's definitely there's definitely a lot of angles that we can to reduce the friction for onboarding new users, but I'll touch on the first question for attracting users outside the ecosystem. So the um, the users who are familiar with prediction markets, we believe that we'll be able to track them over to our platform is through arbitrage opportunities. So we plan to host markets that are popular on other markets, just to give those users an opportunity and an incentive to be like, you know, I could sell my positions here and buy at a more favorable price or whatever they see is, based on their like financial goals or plans or whatever. With reducing friction for Web2 users, we definitely want to introduce like Magic Link, for example, where users can create their wallet ID with like their email address or even phone number eventually. That's not something we're working on the immediate term, just because we have a lot of core functionalities that need to be developed before we can start focusing on that. But that is our plan long term, where we want to make it easier for, Web3 users who currently exist, bridging their liquidity over by hopefully integrating Clipper when that's launched. But also bridges are very important as well. But yeah, so our plan for Web2 users is to essentially like create the most seamless user flow for non-crypto native users by, like I mentioned, email account sign up or phone number. But yeah, that's more probably Q4 of integrating that in Q4 this year.
Yeah. So you mentioned bridges, and something which just came to my mind is we're currently working quite closely with Axelar. We're going to be doing some sort of joint bounties in the coming weeks and months. And one of the themes which we want to sort of double down on is this idea of how can we use Hedera as, and specifically the Hedera schedule service, which I'm not sure. Are you familiar with the Hedera schedule service?
I am familiar with like Hedera's technology from a high level, but I leave all of the finer details to my engineering team.
No, of course. So I'll give you a quick. He's the CEO, by the way, guys. He's business focused.
Yeah.
But I'll give a quick explanation of what the Hedera schedule service is. It's basically a way to execute a smart contract in the future, but it's fully on chain. So currently, currently most of these providers which provide this sort of functionality, like, okay, every week buy X amount of H bar, dollar cost averaging, not financial advice. Every week do that. Typically, it'll be using an off-chain component, whereas with the Hedera schedule service, it happens all on chain. So it's really quite unique. And one of the ideas which we've sort of realized, or one of the use cases which we've realized is, hang on, you can actually couple that with a bridge to then schedule something on another chain, right? So for example, every single week buy one wrapped H bar on Ethereum, yeah? And suddenly you're using Hedera as the hub, and every single week the core schedule is running on Hedera, but then it's using a bridge like Axelar, Layer 0, CCIP to then actually send a message onto another chain and provide them this functionality, this fully on-chain functionality that is just impossible sort of before. And the reason why I mention this here is because you were talking about arbitrage, right? And what if you could have this, again, fully on-chain, sort of like a serverless system, which is automatically creating positions on a schedule without needing to have any sort of, it's completely algorithmic, where it's like, okay, I'm going to buy over here, sell over here, and the arbitrage difference is calculated inside of a smart contract, and it's just like perpetually going on and returning yield. And I see you smiling. What's going on? Tell me what's going on in your head right now.
Well, that's actually something we're talking internally as well. It's funny that you bring that up. One thing that we really want to explore is actually even making our like position tokens exportable to other chains. Of course, we need to do quite a bit more research into that. But yeah, you're right. Like the if Clipper is not available when we want to launch on mainnet, we will be introducing bridges like Axelar as well. Because you're totally right. We want to make that, especially that like opportunity for arbitrage, as seamless and easy as possible. So it's really funny that you say that, because we were just talking about that in our dev meeting the other day.
Amazing, good. And tell us a bit about. Well, look, before we go on, I want you to sort of share a bit more about some of the partnerships that you've been building and your experience in the incubator. Which existing stakeholders in the ecosystem do you have any plans with existing stakeholders? But before that, I want to do another call to action again. I think in the top left of your screen, there's a QR code, and that QR code, if you go over to it, it will take you to this ZEP space. And I'm just going to share with you what it actually looks like. I've got it over here.
I just clicked on the link.
Nice. There we go. Boom. So we've got myself and Ethan are here. If you click 0, you dance. Oh, amazing. Look, we've got Sitflex. So we've had someone in here already. Let me unmute myself. This is a good thing I brought it over now. Let's see if Sitflex is, or is that, I've got a feeling that might be Fermin. We'll find out. Hey, yo, Sitflex. What's up? How's it going, my man? Hey, it's Fermin, okay? That's funny. Yeah, I remember one time I was doing, back when I was starting Hashgraph Hustlers, I had someone in the comments and they were being like super engaged. I was like, oh, this guy is a legend. It was AR. And then I was like chatting with them. I was like, oh, yeah, so happy that this person is engaging so much. Turns out it was my wife. And that's her initials. So anyway, respect for the wife. But that was funny.
That's the only fan you need, right?
No, exactly right. That's totally right. Anyway, I'm going to bring this off stage again. Let's get yours back on stage. Remove that, get that back on. Perfect. So yeah, wanted to ask you back on that sort of question, and I'm going to be keeping an eye on the ZEP space. Scan the QR code if you want to join. You can chat with myself, chat with Fermin. But in terms of sort of partnerships, have you been approaching any incumbents in the Hedera ecosystem to identify where you can work and collaborate? I mean, one of the key ones I was thinking was Bonzo Finance, right? If you can sort of tap into some of their liquidity to start providing some interesting solutions to people looking for cross-chain arbitrage, that could be an exciting opportunity.
Yeah, so I don't want to count our chickens before they hatch, but we have been reaching out and in contact with a lot of the biggest projects that currently exist on Hedera. For good reason, and especially since we're only on testnet so far, we're not going to establish those strategic partnerships until we get closer to mainnet launch. And that's just due to basically, bandwidth on their end by focusing on delivering and continuing to make their product better. But since we're only live on testnet, there's nothing that they can do. But ultimately, we want to basically, the way that we're going to collaborate with all these big projects is by hosting markets that are related to their ecosystem.
Nice.
And basically have a revenue sharing model with
Amazing.
them. And in return, they'll also basically host those markets on their site where they can basically, instead of, a lot of projects I've seen on Hedera, and it's great to deliver more, financial products and options to users on Hedera. But I'm a fan of protocols built natively on Hedera. So a lot of protocols basically take Polymarket, for example, and use their APIs to host their markets on their front end, which is fine and all, but then the liquidity is actually leaving the ecosystem. It's not staying circular, which is something that myself and the team are very passionate about. So yes, we definitely plan on working with a lot of the biggest projects on Hedera, and basically they will host our markets that we have on our back end as well. The way that I guess that's been the biggest development challenge is making sure our back end and APIs are structured the best way possible to make it as easy as possible for those other projects to integrate them, especially with agents. That's actually another topic I wanted to talk about. I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here, but
no, not at all. Let's get straight into it. I think it's a perfect time.
Yeah, so agents are really exciting. I know a lot of people who might not be developers can think of agents like a buzzword, and I don't have a development background, but I can assure you that agents are actually really exciting because they don't care. They are way different compared to you and I, obviously, right? But they don't care about marketing. They don't care about branding. They don't care how the front end looks. Yeah. They're going to find the, whichever user sets it up, but they're going to find the best, arbitrage opportunities or just yield opportunities in general. And having a robust and easy back end for that AI agent to interact with the protocol will be the most important thing. And I definitely believe that, in a few years from now, most transactions, if they're not already, will just be AI agents and not real humans.
Yeah, well, I mean, also 24/7, right? No need to sleep. They just live on tokens. Yeah. Have you got any proof of concepts, sort of testing out AI agents at the moment? Have the devs been cooking anything like that?
Yeah, so one agent that we have has been helping us with penetration testing and doing like a preliminary audit of our existing code, which has been helping a lot. But one agent that we've been really exploring around with is for liquidity provision, because once we scale and orders will be happening a lot and we'll be basically expanding our volume, we definitely think using an agent as like a market maker will really help make the transition of liquidity seamless, and making sure that our most popular markets will always have sufficient liquidity. So of course, we only had like $1 in a market, for example, and someone buys it all up. That's not a liquid market at all. No one can sell or buy, right? Like every single DeFi protocol needs liquidity in order for it to be usable.
Yeah. And then, so I guess on that point, how are you thinking of actually getting the capital to provide that liquidity?
Yeah, so currently, we actually just received a grant from Thrive Hedera, which has been great in basically in getting early capital for paying for our security audit. But we also will be using some of it as our seed liquidity, not only for our governance token, but for our seed markets. But besides seeding our own markets initially, our tokenomics are very incentive driven. What do I mean by that? So basically, when a user places a limit order on both sides it'll depend on the market, but let's say within 5% or 5 cents of the spread, they'll be earning points, which we call internally the Q score. And basically, there'll be a certain amount of rewards allocated for a market within a 2-week period. And then depending on the Q score, divided by the global amount of Q score that was earned for those 2-week period, that'll determine how many tokens you earn. It'll be Prism token that we'll be using as rewards. Now, this is
that a similar model to Larry rewards on SaucerSwap? Is it kind of similar to that, or
yes, very similar to Larry rewards. So if anyone here is familiar with SaucerSwap and V2 and how they distribute their rewards, it's basically identical to that model. And it's worth noting that we understand that token incentives are not sustainable long term, but it is very common and a very useful strategy in the short term, which we believe will be a really great way in incentivizing liquidity in the short term. And not to mention the revenue sharing model that we use will also be a really great way of relieving that sort of mission schedule that we have. But of course, we're working with the brightest tokenomics advisor in the ecosystem. I might be a little biased saying that, but he did also create the tokenomics for Sauce, Bonzo, and Hashpack. So we're very fortunate to be working with him because he's really helped us create a sustainable token emission vesting schedule.
Amazing. Well, look, those are three of the big dogs in the Hedera ecosystem. So I think if you're going to pick a winner, Prism is going to be on that list based on that track record. That's awesome. I mean, one of the things that Hashgraph Hustlers is famous for is for building stuff. And I was thinking we could maybe try and, not saying we build out a feature of the Prism marketplace, but it'd be interesting to see if we can actually interact with the marketplace, maybe with an AI agent. I mean, are the APIs and smart contracts available for developers to use right now?
So we haven't publicized that documentation yet. So I think I would have to get a hold of a developer here to get you access to directly to our all that information. But I mean, they should be awake, so I probably will only take me a minute or two.
Yeah, I'll dig around. What I'll do is I'll dig around the. Yeah, no, it looks like limit order more. Okay, so the docs are currently quite focused on. The docs are currently quite focused on the just sort of protocol docs and no developer docs. Yeah, if we are able to access it, that'd be awesome because we can then spend a bit of time. And this is my bad. I should have mentioned this beforehand. But then it'd be pretty cool if we could have like a reference doc to maybe build our own AI agent. I mean, something for the technical folks who are joining, something which I want to something which I've been using a bit more is this harness loop, which Anthropic have been talking about recently. I'm going to try and get like a screenshot of the flow. Where is it? There was this video by Anthropic. Let's remove that. Stop screen share. Boom. Let's go over here. Voila. There we go. So the Anthropic team just came up with a pretty interesting video on how they design long-lasting agentic context harnesses, and it's basically like this. I'm gonna get to it soon. I think I've gone past it. This is the one. No, there's another one.
But while you were just finding that video there, I actually did find our documentation, that our developer docs that I forgot were public.
Oh, they are public. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, we just haven't posted it yet, just because of continuous updates. But I just sent you a link to it.
Okay, sweet.
It'd be interesting to see what your agent would be able to
let's play around it. Let's experiment. Yeah, did you send that to me on Slack?
Yeah, on Slack.
Wicked. Okay. Bosh, there we go. GitHub. Yeah, that's what I'd like to see. Amazing. So, I mean, I guess what I want to try. I think that there's two things that we can do here, right? The first thing that we can try is using this to code. So we have a human prompt. What their sort of approach is. It's essentially an extended version of a Ralph loop, which is basically a for loop of a coding AI agent just going around in circles. And the way that they structure it is they have human puts in a prompt. There's a dedicated AI agent which creates a plan. And for those of you who've sort of been building with AI, then you'll be very familiar with this planning concept. I mean, that's been sort of the standard for the last couple of, let's say the last year, is before coding, you do a plan first. So that's still here. Where it gets interesting is this loop, this back and forth between the generator and between the evaluator. So these are separate AI agents. The generator is actually writing code, and then the evaluator, after the generator's written that code based on the spec, the evaluator will go through it, and it will go through it, and it'll basically mark it against some rubric to decide whether it's passed or failed. And if it passes, it will exit the loop. If it's failed, it will give the feedback, the findings.md, back to the generator, and it can just pretty much go on perpetually. And it's sort of building on this idea of general adversarial networks, GANs, where you have this two separate AI agents pretty much arguing with each other. Because if you get an AI to say, let's say we get this generator over here to evaluate itself, the same AI agent, the same context, it basically, it's marking its own homework, right? It will be like, yeah, this is great. This is perfect. I did it right first time. Whereas when you have, even if it's the same AI model, if you have a different context, different agent who's specifically adversarial, then actually it finds a lot of improvements. So that's one way to use this. It's to actually write code, right? But another way to use it is, can we use this similar architecture for constantly monitoring the markets, where we have like a plan in terms of that might be your sort of your strategy, and then you've got this intern type figure, junior analyst, who's going, okay, we need to do this, and then you have almost this senior partner going, that's wrong, try again. And you can pretty much have that going for days, right? And sort of implementing a particular strategy. So I don't know, which of those sounded interesting to you? Building something or the latter?
It seems like the options are quite limitless. So one thing that we want to explore down the road to support more niche markets, for context, we are working with Chainlink and Supra as our Oracle providers to resolve our markets. But down the road, we're definitely interested in creating like an AI Oracle. Of course, we don't want to introduce something like that just yet, just because we know AI can still make mistakes. But based off of what you were just explaining, it seems like that could be a great, basically have agents, like multiple agents interact with each other to make sure that, like an AI Oracle, essentially is what I'm getting at. Like that would be really cool to try to create, where it basically be accurate like 100% of the time. Of course, that might be a lot to ask.
Interesting. Okay. So let's do this. Let's create the plan. Let's create that spec, and this might be all we do. But I think worst case scenario, this is something which you can hand over to the engineering team, worst case is something which you can hand over to your engineering team, and it can be sort of the spec for what you're talking about. But what I like to do, particularly when we have sort of like business stakeholders, is how do we extract the business requirements in that spec? Because what techies like myself can often do is go straight to building a solution that sometimes isn't really solving a business problem, just sounds technically cool. So while you're here, we can sort of, codify what you're thinking, what your sort of business perspective is focusing on. Let's go in here. So what we'll do is we'll spin up a Claude session. Let's spin up Claude. Oh, actually, what I also like to do, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a grilling session. So we're going to be using this skill called Grill Me, which is a really good skill by quite a famous developer in the sort of Twitter world on X. Grilling. Looks like he's renamed it. So Essentially what it is, yeah, interview the user relentlessly about a plan or design, use when the user wants to stress test a plan before building. So we can use that AI skill with Claude Code. Skills. And let's install that. So we'll do the grilling skill. Perfect. So now if I open up Claude Code, we've got this skill available. And we use Opus 4, F model. Do you ever use Claude Code, Ethan, or are you more of a Claude guy?
Yes, I've dabbled with Claude Code, definitely. Yeah. Mostly Claude, but it's crazy how powerful it's getting every day. It seems like I'm just like, actually, I guess funny story. So around this time last year, I was a ChatGPT guy. It was fine. And then I basically saw these stats in the other models that were better than ChatGPT. And so I went to Gemini and I thought like, okay, this is it feels like an improvement. I like it. And then for whatever reason, it took me so long to get to Claude. And then I was like, oh my God, this is night and day. Like it was crazy. I was just blown away at like everything that it could do. Like, of course, it's really good at basically creating like the outline for something that's like really detailed. But I find that you still have to, go into the nitty gritty and the finer details of things to really polish it up. But it's still just like crazy, like how much time it saves by just from one simple prompt. It creates so much.
No, it's amazing. And Fable 5 was also really good. But
I had an opportunity to test it myself. But it was crazy how it was apparently too strong.
Dude,
that it had to get taken out.
Yeah, no, it was. I had a week of holiday last week, and it was supposed to be when Fable 5 was sort of like generally available. And I was like, yeah, great. I'm going to have a week off work where I can just work on fun stuff, right? Work on pet projects and whatever. And unfortunately, I had to use Opus. Anyway, we're still a productive week. But anyway, what we're going to do, we're going to do this grilling session. So I've taken a screenshot of this harness architecture. And I want to see, let's just, what I'll do is I'll kickstart the prompt, sort of just explaining what I think we want to build. And then you can just make any refinements. And then obviously I'll be asking you for some of the answers to this grilling session here. So I'm gonna use the voice mode. I'm gonna start talking into it. Let's just do a quick test. Hello. Voice connection failed. I wonder if it's because probably because I already have this mic on connected. I'm just gonna mute this. Test. Oh, I didn't even mute it and it works. Can you still hear me, Ethan?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Did you hear me say test?
I did.
Okay, perfect. So it's working. All right. So for those of you who don't know, talking, I think you're about 3 times quicker talking than you are typing. So for maximum efficiency, sometimes you should talk. Obviously, you do end up waffling a bit, but sometimes the waffle's good. So sometimes the waffle is just more context for the AI. Anyway, let's start waffling. But without further ado, so I'm looking to. Well, I'm currently working with a prediction market called Prism. I spelled it right. Okay. I think it's just me who spells it with a Z. My bad for that. Called Prism. We are looking to implement a agentic oracle where AI agents are able to provide and prove objective data so that a market inside of the prediction market can resolve. We're thinking we might be able to use the attached image architecture, which demonstrates a agentic harness that has a plan and then an iterative loop between a generator and evaluator. Is that sort of right so far, Ethan? Is there anything that I should add?
Yeah.
That's the first thing, by the way. It will come back with clarifications and sort of go on.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's pretty spot on. Like my only goal with wanting to create something like this is to basically add more flexibility with the type of markets that we can support, but also, save money on cost. Just because, especially for markets on like the price of Bitcoin, for example, that data is free.
Yeah.
But for something more niche on like who's going to win the next U.S. election, there will be costs associated with actually from our Oracle providers for supporting
so you basically
that.
have to have like a custom Oracle set up for that, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's go. So, oh, hang on. I didn't even click enter. Okay. The two main objectives we're looking to get out of this agentic Oracle is one, increasing the flexibility of the market, increasing the amount of products that can be added and sort of the diversity of options. And then secondly, reducing the cost, because currently when we want to have Oracle providers for niche markets that are outside of your typical Oracle, you need to pay a price to the Oracle provider. If we're able to disintermediate them, then this is going to be positive for the business. Ready to go?
Yeah, let's see the magic happen.
So it's probably gonna it might take a few minutes, which is the issue with AI and my recommendation now, if you are doing AI, would be to do parallelize so that actually while this is going on in the background, you just spin up a new AI agent and it does a separate piece of work. That's one of my big tips. My AI principles is how do you sort of maximize that time when you're waiting for an AI response to be generated. But it looks like it's actually gone quite quickly. So no, actually, this is screen for design discussion. Yeah, perfect. That's exactly what we want. Before dining as the generator, I want to nail down the spine or everything else. An LLM-based Oracle is non-deterministic and can be both wrong and adversarially manipulated. And here it's setting real money. So the first fork in the tree is about authority. Question 1. Is this agentic Oracle the final authority that settles a market, or is it a proposer who enters a dispute/challenge before settlement? So like
that's a really good question. Wow.
What do you think? You're the boss.
Yeah. So like ideally it would be the final authority, but I in good conscience could not let an AI agent make that decision, especially when it's handling real funds. So I think for now it's a proposer to what it thinks the answer is, and also gives the data to back that up.
Okay, so it's basically a proposer with why it's proposing it, the evidence. And then here there's an interesting one. So is there an existing dispute/escalation mechanism in Prism today that this would plug into? Have you sort of seen anything like this before?
Not currently. We don't have that set up. Right now, the way that it's set up is that we resolve the markets just in our admin panel that we've created for ourselves, where we can choose either side or resolve it 50-50. That, of course, we're only live on testnet. That's not what we're going to be using when we're live on mainnet. But this is actually really valuable information that we could definitely code into to enable that mechanism.
I mean, is it worth maybe I can get the AI to sort of spin up like a sub-agent which researches for this? Would that be helpful?
Yeah, that would be really helpful.
So let's go. So we'll go for a proposer that enters the dispute/challenge window. And then there was something else which you'd mentioned after saying that, and that slipped my mind. Can you remember? Was there any sort of specific the rationale behind it?
So the rationale is like in a perfect world, like we would want an agent to be able to be the final authority. but so supply evidence to back up their dispute.
Yeah, that's the one. And as part of that proposal, the agent must also supply evidence and its reasoning, as well as supporting references for why that proposal was made. So let's continue with the grilling, but do also spin up a sub-agent which can do a bit of research on existing dispute/escalation mechanisms, because we have not considered any options at the moment, and that would be helpful. So it should spin up like a parallel sub-agent now, to have them sort of going in parallel. Let's see if it does that.
Very cool. I've actually never spoken to Claude Code or just AI in general. I always type it out like a normie.
Yeah, no, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. Here we go. Look, we've got two agents coming. So it's working in parallel. So we can then basically ask a new question, right? Let's go. Oh, deep research. Okay, yeah, let's use that. Let's put it on auto mode. Here we go. So the background agent is now going on in parallel, and we can actually go to the next question. So again, parallelization, bro. All about parallelization. Right. Research sub-agents running in the background. Cool. Keep doing that. Set the spine. Okay. Question 2. What is the domain of questions that the Oracle must resolve? A bounded set of structured market templates, or arbitrary free text questions that users or the AI can author? I mean, I know you mentioned you wanted to do sort of more objective stuff, black and white, yes or no's, right?
Yeah. And so one way that we could really help guide the agent on what sources that it uses, that we'd probably want to do our own internal research to find specific sources that we would trust 110%. And a good example would be like if it's a prediction on what the U.S. unemployment is going to be, we would use the U.S. Statistics Bureau website as that source. So I guess we probably have to supply additional context, in that sense. But maybe for the sake of just this experiment, maybe we can see it'll find its own reliable sources for now.
Yeah. So in fact, I think the question was a slightly different one. I'll still mention what you said. The question was more so in terms of the types of questions. Are they always going to be a fixed set, or is the question going to be like, so here, for example, it clarifies it. So bounded templates, markets are instantiates from a library of parameterized resolution schemes. I mean, that's a very technical way of saying we're only going to do sports predictions of this particular type, or crypto prices of this particular type. So you're sort of, you have a defined set of templates that can be used, whereas the arbitrary free text becomes anybody can propose pretty much anything which is yes or no, true or false.
Yeah, so we want to support all types of categories.
Okay, arbitrary.
So yes, sports, companies, like honestly, like whatever you can think of. It would be like a valid market statement with like a reasonable like resolution source, and in any timeline it sees fit. Like we definitely want to support like short-term markets, because markets that are short-term is the best, not only for our bottom line, but also best for the users participating. Because if you win on market, you might feel more inclined to want to participate in another market.
Yeah, it's more shorter attention span type kind of. Yeah,
definitely.
Okay, so to kick off, we want to go for arbitrary free text. That's one of the whole points of using AI agents, is giving that flexibility and diversity of product. And another thing which was flagged up in this group discussion was potentially having a whitelisted list of data to query, so that we have an initial filtering of what to trust rather than just getting anything from the web. And then also another discussion point was short-term markets are particularly interesting as well, because they increase liquidity and user experience. Okay, so it looks like our general agent is actually still going on in the background as well. It's even, wow. The general agent spun up other general agents. It spun
Wow.
up other the sub agents spun up as other sub agents. So it's got like reality.eth. Have you heard of these solutions before?
I've heard of Claros, yeah. Okay, yeah, it's researching Yuma. Yeah, that's poly markets. This is a level of productivity I've never seen before. This is insane.
Bro, I usually have multiple of these going.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Question 3. At what point and by whom is a free text question pinned down to be a precise resolvable specification? Can a market accept bets before its resolution criteria are locked? So that's a good point, right? Because you want to do objective stuff, but then how do we determine whether a prediction is objective?
Yeah. So basically, I guess to keep it simple, we can just say that it's like either happens or it doesn't. It's like a yes or no, just for now. Like when we obviously it gets a little hairier when you start introducing multiple options. So for the sake of this experiment, maybe we could just say like it has to happen. Either happens or it doesn't. There's no in between.
Okay, cool. So the criteria for the free text question to be sort of agreed upon is that it must pass the test of it has happened or it hasn't happened. So very sort of binary. And then we've got over here at creation result. Yeah, no, so I think that's pretty much. Oh, why has it done that again? I didn't click enter. So we should have some AI to interpret the original free text for a resolvability gate and have that initial pass. Yeah, I think that makes sense for sure. So yeah, usually I'd now be flicking to another AI agent, or sometimes I like to, read a little book. This is going quite quickly, but when you're doing coding, it can take pretty long. Like sometimes coding might take 10, 15 minutes, right? So that's a good time to, I don't know, do a bit of doom scrolling or do something completely unproductive.
Yeah.
Okay. So falsibility test, boom, now the binary, okay. Question 4, when the AI cannot establish a confident yes, no by the deadline, what happens? Does the market resolve? No. I mean, I think at this point, interesting. Okay. Right. So if the AI cannot resolve it, what happens?
Can't confidently say yes or no. I guess it would have to go to. So I guess that is really interesting, because one thing that we do want to introduce, especially for more niche markets, is actually introducing our DAO to have our token holders as sort of the arbiters. Because for a really ambiguous market, for whatever reason that we host down the line, might be acceptable to resolve at like 70-30. So maybe we can use our DAO as a backstop, but I guess that wouldn't answer the question. So I'm just thinking out loud here.
So the DAO was the backstop, and then what? The DAO sort of reaches consensus.
Yeah, basically.
It's like a vote to the DAO, but it doesn't really scale, does it? If you have hundreds of markets.
Yeah, no, yeah, that wouldn't. It would be. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that's kind of primarily why we wanted to stick with black and white markets, to not be the arbiters of the markets that we host. But that's a really good question that the AI asked. I really need to think on that.
So I guess if we sort of go back to first principles, so if there's a what would be it if it's something like let's go FIFA World Cup, Football World Cup, proper football, not American football. Argentina win this match, the only case where it would be invalid or sort of indeterminate / not knowable is if the match gets cancelled, right? Like that's the only point where it sort of becomes that's something where almost, I mean, it's like there's almost no way that it's unfeasible for the AI to not have a confident yes or no for these types of questions, because it's so discrete and it's so inevitable. Yes, there's a case which is what if the match gets cancelled? That's, I think, becomes a different thing. What would you do in that situation where we have these questions which are pretty safe? Will Argentina win? If they draw, that's no, because the draw is not a win. If they lose, it's obviously no. So it's very binary. It's very resolvable. What would you do in that case if the match got cancelled?
Yeah, if the market, if the match never happened and it wasn't, so I guess plan A would be extend the resolution date to when the match will happen. And plan B for if the match is canceled altogether will never happen.
Yeah.
I guess the thing that would make the most sense would be to do a full refund for every position holder. Based on the collateral that's available in the smart contract.
Okay, cool. So let's do that. I think that's a good answer of the question. Basically means that if we want AI to be a resolver, it has to be this special type of yes/no question where it's the risk of it being unresolvable is so low. And if it goes that route, then okay, we just refund everyone. So the AI agents, the deep research agents did come back, which is cool. So that's going to be part of this context over here. What's a really nice feature about sub agents, and it is that they have their own context window. So what that basically means is we had all of these sub agents doing work, but you can see over here, I've still only got 4%. I've got 96% remaining. Whereas if you had that AI agent running in this particular context, probably be at like 10% now, 20%. And this is sort of good for, just keeping that consumption lean and tight, and high quality information. But anyway, let's go quick one over here. Well, yes, I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. On the terms of this one, let's give it the answer. So the criteria for an AI agent to be a resolver must be in a certain type of market where it's so inevitable that the risk of there being a failure is really low. An example which we discussed was, is Argentina going to win this football match tomorrow against Austria? It's definitely possible for the AI agent to resolve it yes, no. And the only instance where it would be unresolvable is if the match gets cancelled. And if something like that happens, then we can just refund everybody the full price. So those are the sort of questions that would only be eligible for an AI agent to resolve.
So you have two agents running right now. One of them is running its own sub-agent.
No, so the sub-agent has stopped now. The sub-agent was only doing the research oracle dispute mechanism. So it came back with UMA. Do you know what UMA is?
Yeah, UMA. They are the Oracle provider for Polymarket.
Ah, got you. Okay. So they run an LLM proposer, optimistic truth bot, 78% overall accuracy, 95% excluding coin flips / too early. Oh, look at that, 99.3% on sports and asset pricing. So sport,
yeah,
I guess
that's really good.
That kind of aligns with what we set up here, right? In terms of sports events, because okay. So anyone can author, but the result gate decides whether yeah. Okay. Question 5. How does the gate draw the line between AI eligible and not? So this is now referring to what we're discussing here, which is some questions won't be eligible for the AI agent to resolve just because it's like it might just get into this territory where things are too difficult. How does the gate draw the line between AI eligible and not? Will this be
The AI is saying, don't trust AI.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Research shows LLM proposals are miscalibrated. Does
Right.
or AI? What are your thoughts on this one? I'm interested to hear.
Yeah, so I guess but we have done our own internal research like a few months ago on the like eligibility for an AI oracle, and it's interesting to see that the results are still quite similar. Like it's not there just yet, which is why we're not obviously using AI oracles when we launch. But we definitely see it being a viable option in the near future, like with the way that AI is advancing. So yeah, it is. I guess it's good to see that it's not, trying to beat around the bush and trying to say, oh, AI is still amazing, this is why you should use it. So it's great that it's honest.
Yeah, part of that was because of the research. I reckon I don't think I would have come up with these sort of ideas if it hadn't done that sub-agent research in parallel.
Yeah, I guess when I did my research, AI can hallucinate sometimes, and I found scenarios like basically show like, hey, this evidence shows that why you're wrong, and it's like, oh yeah, you're right, and blah blah blah.
Just, oh, I'm so sorry, I missed that. Shut up.
Yeah,
you're not sorry.
Yeah.
You're not sorry either.
Yeah,
you can't be sorry.
Yeah, but yeah, that was very efficient. Working with these two different agents, who even hired its own sub agent. I actually haven't seen that in real time. I need to do a bit more on research with agents myself. Yeah, that was a really cool exercise.
Cool. No, it's good fun. I mean, yeah, we what I can do is I can get a summary, and I can share it over with you.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah.
Because it looks like there are still some markets that could be eligible, even in the short term.
Yeah, I mean, I think things like so from the points over here, sports seems to be pretty good. 99.3% on sports. That's like quite a safe option.
Yeah.
So and then I guess within that sports vertical, you can then sort of scale up and have loads of sport markets without having to have dedicated without having to have sort of dedicated oracles for each of those. I mean, what's that current process, just out of interest, in getting a dedicated oracle set up? What are the costs associated?
So the quotes that we've received is $150 per month per market.
$150 per month per market. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we have a market that's live for 1 year, I'm sure you can imagine. Well, yeah, that'd be what, $1,300 just to host the market. So yeah, it could definitely climb up there depending on how long we want to host the market. But we've basically designed our internal financials and business model to be able to cover said costs. But of course, we can't just have 1,000 markets at one point right out of the gate, because we, being a startup, we wouldn't be able to afford it. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's why we kind of have to scale appropriately and proportionally with revenue.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I guess what in terms of because what's the revenue model at the moment? Is there transaction fees in interacting with it?
We're going to be launching with 0% trading fees. The only fee that we have is a 2% protocol resolution fee. So we only charge 2% on the total collateral collected for that market at the time it resolves.
Right. So basically, if you wanted to pay, what's the maths on that then? If you've got a, let's do a calculator. So 2%. So to cover that, cover the 1 year market, what was it? $1,500 for a year, right?
Yeah, $1,300 for the year. So we actually did do the math ourselves. I should pull up my own spreadsheet, but I believe it was
Have to be about $65,000 minimum just to break even, assuming there's no other cost beside the Oracle.
Yeah, and then not even including operation.
Well, exactly. So, yeah, that's assuming you guys don't make any money.
Yeah. So yeah, if we have $100,000 in total value locked for one market, which would be a lot.
Yeah.
And then 2% fee, that'd be $2,000. Or yeah, you already did the math there.
Yeah. So yeah, this is assuming that you're all free and you have no infrastructure costs.
Yeah.
You're doing it for charity.
Yeah. So that's why, like, the current like niche markets, like, we will obviously want to do what we can to support as many like markets as our users want to see, but it's not sustainable, as you can see, which is why introducing like an AI Oracle is something that we would explore long term.
Yeah, no, exactly. If you could have the AI, I mean, suddenly that's $1,500, which is gone, right? That's your margin there.
Yeah, exactly. So
Backstage, not sure if Backstage is still around. Do you mind? Because again, I tried switching it myself and I broke it. So could we get the if it's possible to get the screen share removed, that'd be great. Okay, no, I'm going to risk it again. Shall I risk it? Let's do it. Yes.
Oh, good work.
I think I was clicking the wrong button last time. So there we go. Oh, hang on. Okay, I'm getting the gist of it now. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to ask one final couple of few more, just sort of quick fire questions, just to wrap up, and then we can we can call it a day. I guess I wanted to. We spoke about earlier, sort of what looks like winning for you, and you mentioned some really nice concrete numbers. I think you said 400 active users per month. How much? $500,000, $500,000?
Yeah, 500,000 in total value locked.
Yeah, TVL
by this time next year.
So what's the one thing that you need sort of right now, whether it be from myself and the Hashgraph team, from the people in the incubator and beyond, that might help with achieving those goals, achieving those users, the capital, the developers interacting with the protocol?
So honestly, like, what we're doing right now is perfect. We just want to get our product out to as many eyes as possible in the Hedera ecosystem, and it's been really great working with our talented mentors from the incubator, and yourself as well. But yeah, just like little calls like this and fun chats and just kind of talking about what we're working on and new developments and new features that we plan to release, I think is the best way that you can help support us. Yeah, amazing. Of course, we want to. Our goal is to be one of those protocols where, when you're thinking of DeFi on Hedera, you're thinking of Saucer Swap, Bonzo, Hashpack, and obviously so many others. But we want to be up there on the Mount Rushmore of protocols in this ecosystem.
Get your face on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. And then I guess final one, what's the biggest risk to your project?
Oh, well, I guess it's the same risk for all DeFi projects. exploits. But like, of course, security is our number one priority, and we would never, right now, I guess, when you say that, we are working with Halborn to be our security auditors for our smart contracts in our back end. So we know that they've done a great job auditing a lot of other protocols in the ecosystem, and so we're confident that working with them will be the partner that we need to make sure that our code is as secure and robust as it possibly can be. So there's no exploits available. You know, a lot of people say nothing is unhackable, but of course we would never launch the protocol and mainnet until we know that's the case with our code base.
Yeah, no, completely. And again, you've got the engineering expertise to back it up. They're definitely building some pretty mission critical systems. I know that for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
And shout out to you guys if you're watching. I hope you are. I hope you're tuning in. You know, you've got big respect from Jacob.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much. This was such a pleasure to hang out with you and vibe code with you. I like the little game too, where you can walk around that little virtual world.
Zep space. Unfortunately, I'm still dancing in it. I'm still dancing.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
It's good. It's good for. I think it's good for clips. I think there's some good clips where we had that in the background. I don't know. I just think that's like a nice, you know, like a low attention span scrolling. Oh. Like there's this weird little emote dancing while we're talking about cool stuff.
Totally, yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, look, let's wrap it up now, Ethan. It was an absolute pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to your pitch on demo day with Hashgraph Ventures soon, and the journey beyond that. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care.
Thank you for having me.
The need for a more interconnected world is fueling new decentralized technologies and new ways of doing business. Hedera stands at the forefront of distributed ledgers, where every interaction is not only trusted, but fast, efficient, and secure. While traditional blockchains struggle with speed and fees, Hedera's network settles transactions in under 3 seconds for a fraction of a penny. And the proof is in the numbers. Hedera is uniquely governed by a council of the world's leading institutions, ensuring transparency, trust, and decentralization. It's no wonder Hedera is the leading choice for enterprise and DeFi use cases. Everything from real-world asset tokenization to AI data integrity. Discover the only decentralized network with the governance, scalability, and security to power the new digital economy. What future will you build?